Good morning, and I hope you're enjoying your coffee as much as I do. And I hope one day we will enjoy together a crystal coffee, for this is how I take my coffees, with crystal energy. So I have something for you today that is one of the stories that have been with me for such a long time. And this is one of the stories of my life and my experience. And the biggest lesson of this story, or the biggest message that comes through with my story, is dream high. Because your dreams, when it comes to working with crystals, always come true. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is they don't necessarily always come true in the way that you envision them, because at times our mind structures and mind features, let's put them that way, would not necessarily envision clearly what we want. We know we want something, but the way that we see it is not necessarily what reality will be. In essence, it will be exactly what you want it. It just will look different, because in order for you to see clearly your future and the reality that you want to build, you will need a little bit of energy support, a little bit of meditation practice, and a little bit of more work with crystals. And in time, you will get there, just like I did. And then exactly where I was not 20 years ago. So my story started when I really fell in love with a common crystal. And this common crystal is selenite. The structure of selenite is made of calcium, silica, and water. Calcium, silica, hydrogen, and oxygen. So if you look at the chemical structure, composition of a selenite quartz, it contains exactly what your body contains. And at the end, if you look at it even more in detail and you want to understand the structure, this is petrified water, right? So when I fell in love with this crystal, I used to have this crystal with me all the time, not knowing that there are different structures where selenite grows into, not knowing much about it. I was just holding on to it. And for whatever reason, I was probably called into connecting with it for definitely a reason that I did not know at the time, nor will I know in the future 15 years after. So I held on to it, and I held on to it just like a dream. I wanted to connect with places on this planet that actually give you the selenite. That I wanted to connect with the home of selenite. And wanting to connect with the home of selenite, in 2000, the year that we all knew that the world is going to end, right? In that year, the picture that you see now on your screen, this cave was discovered. There's a lot of information about this cave. You can go online, you can go on the History Channel, you can go on Wikipedia. You can read about this crystal cave. This crystal cave was discovered in Mexico. It's called the Nica crystal cave. And there is definitely something not exceptional about it, but organically healing about it. Just like every single magical place on this planet, we do consider them magical places because our power of understanding is not at the level that that place will give you the information for you to understand. And even now, 20 years later, I'm still grasping part of the energy that that space gives. I'm always doing my best to be short with these videos, and I always end up being too long or very long. So bear with me so you will find out how do I get to drink crystal coffee. So in the year 2000, the cave was discovered. So when that was discovered, obviously I didn't know about it because at that time I did not have access to the proper resources to find out information, especially not information of that nature. I was still holding on to my selenite at the time, and some years later, when I found out that that cave was discovered, all of a sudden, I just had a dream. My whole life has shifted and changed into one purpose. I wanted to get there. I just wanted to be in that cave for a second, for a millisecond, for just a glimpse of my life. I wanted to be in there and to feel what that cave has to give me. To listen to what those crystals have to say. Those crystals hold so much power and so much wisdom and so much love that a being incarnated in a physical body is just probably not capable of grasping, is definitely capable of absorbing, but not necessarily capable of understanding, because this goes beyond your brain structures. You take all that energy in. The point is, don't even try to understand. There's nothing to understand about it. There's all to take in, to absorb, to breathe in, and to allow that whole universe to open from within you and allow you to just create miracles forward in your life. That's what the crystal energy is all about. It's all about allowing you to remember how it is to be in perfect harmony within your own nature. So that's when my dream started. I just wanted to be there. So how can you live with a dream that you know cannot happen? Because you know, like you're structuring your life and your possibilities and you go, I can't do that. But in the meantime, you know that you have to do that. And you know that this is the dearest dream you have. I never gave up on that. Never. And in my dreams, I was finding myself in the cave. And in my meditations, I started to find myself in the cave. And I was building on to that energy because I wanted to physically connect. I was energetically already connected. Working with crystal energy, you connect with everything. All dimensions, time, and spaces. There's no limits for you. But when it comes to physically connect, it's a different story. So my dream went on, and years went by, and I decided to follow a crystal healing training in 2011 in Arkansas, in one of the mines, the crystal mines in Arkansas. That has, again, nothing to do with the Mexico caves. It's just a little bit closer down south, but still not there. So I went for my training. And for the very first time in my life, I got to pull out of the ground a crystal that no human has touched before. This was a massive shift for me. It was one of the most powerful experiences that I've ever had in terms of crystal energy and crystal work. And even before I got there, the teacher that was guiding us through this course kept telling me, I have to place you in the same space with this lady. And I was okay with whoever lady I was placed into the space, because I was okay with anything that was chosen for me, because all I wanted to deal with was crystals. I didn't care who I'm with and what house and what's happening. It looked like my birth chart frequency, astrology, numerology, crystal work, a lot of signs were leading her to believe that I have something in common with this specific woman. And I had to meet with her and connect. So we did choose to kind of be lodged with each other, but we didn't know anything about the previous messages or anything about what was going to happen. So the training began, and a few days into the training, being lodged in the same house, I got to know everybody. But there was something about this woman that I just wanted to get more from, but I couldn't point on what it is, and she didn't seem too eager to reveal that to me yet. So we were just talking about crystals, doing crystal mandalas at all times, and then all of a sudden she came to me and she goes, there's something that I have to tell you, but I don't know what it is. And I was as blown away as she was, and we were trying to connect and to dig into what is it that we need to talk about, because I was revealing it to her at that time that the teacher was mentioning her to me, and then, look, we got together and we still don't know why. Halfway through my training, she decided to talk to other people one of the evenings and start talking to these people about selenite. And my antennas were like pulling me towards that table just to go and see what is it that this woman talks about. And I was like, she was in the house with me for so long. She never told me about the selenite. What is this? So I walked towards the table, and she had her laptop open, and she was presenting to these people her experience in Nica caves in Mexico. And all my marbles just dropped, because that was what I was expecting for years to hear and to connect with. And here it was, right in front of me. So in that moment, I felt like my whole life is just getting into one point, and that point is the exact point where I am. It's overwhelming, and it's just unbelievable and undescribable to get you to feel, and to get myself to feel again, that moment where you felt like your dream just came true, but you don't know which dream that was. And that was the fun part of it. I got to be so close into hugs and handshakes and touching crystals and having coffee every morning with the physical body and a celestial soul that has stepped foot into the Nica caves, where I wanted to step my feet into for so long. This was my dream. And I could hug my dream. This was just unbelievably magical. Needless to say that the crystals from that cave are not for sale. The cave is not accessible by public. There were only groups of scientists allowed in with special equipment. And this woman that laid my dream in my hands was part of the very first team of scientists and the very first woman that stepped into these caves. Just an incredible story. And that dream of mine is now built physically into this piece. That piece of selenite that I have received as a gift for my presence and for being and connecting and receiving all that energy that the crystal caves have got for me. All that is in one piece that is inside of my selenite fairy creation. I had this piece of crystal art exposed in many places. It is not for sale. It never will be. More so because, thank God, people only wake up to the truth and to healing when they're threatened. I think these times that we live in have something to say about that. When the crystal caves were discovered, they have drained all the water from inside, the water that has been there for millions of years, where these massive pieces of selenite would grow into and out of. So by draining the water out of the caves for scientific purposes, they stopped the growth of the selenite first. Second, what has happened in time, they realized that the structure of the mountain started to become loose and started to crack. So the risk of a physical natural disaster was imminent, because in time, that space that has been created and that water that was not there to support the mass of the mountain would have made the mountain collapse. Also would have destroyed all these crystals. So in 2015, the caves were flooded back. They're closed right now, and they never will be accessible in this lifetime. Thank God. We have interfered with the cycle of nature, and if we didn't wake up in time, we would have created a natural disaster that would have cost a lot. I'm not talking about money. So a piece of those crystals, of those caves, is in here. I did notice that every time I had this piece exposed anywhere in public shows, in my former yoga studio, people would always just look at it, just pass by and turn around and got stuck in front of it, just looking at it and how beautiful this piece is. A few of them got the story of this piece and what it actually contains. For this energy belongs to This is big to say, but it belongs to humanity, and it will stay that way. It will not be traded for anything. Starting with this being my connection with the crystal caves and with my dream, this is my dream this is my dream in reality. So did I dream about having this when I first fell in love with the selenite wand? No. Did I even know that I can create something like this? No. Did I ever envision that I will get to connect with what I was perceiving as an angel walking on earth and bringing me the message of the crystal caves? I just came up with that now. We are 20 years later since the caves were discovered, and 5 years later since the caves were placed back into some kind of natural order. So starting with this, I have decided that this energy has to be given to all those who connect with it. Therefore, I have gone further into my creativity process, and I have created these water bottles, coffee bottles. I love my coffee with the crystal energy in it. It just gives me, caffeine has nothing compared to what crystals have. But that old habit of mine of having coffee every morning has now incorporated my dream in it. And that dream keeps me going and keeps me wanting to heal you. So these bottles, when I create them, I reproduce or do my best to reproduce the crystal structure of Nica caves. So the crystalline structure of these selenite wands is reproduced in the bottles, and all that energy is infused in any liquid that you choose to place in your bottle, whether it is that is water, coffee, a shake in the morning, or whatever it is that you choose to hydrate your body with or nourish your body with. Because crystal energy is infused in any liquid that gets in contact with. This is your crystal cave. These crystal bottles are available for sale. They are limited quantity at this time. If you're interested in purchasing one, let me know. And also, if you're interested in more of my crystal stories, because trust me, I have a lot, I will keep recording these stories and send them your way. May you have a crystal energized day, and may your crystal heart shine.